This is the Lekker Rugby Pod Instant Reaction, only on Megaphone Rugby.
Welcome to this emergency Lekker Rugby Pod episode. Harry and I jumped on this quite quickly after Rassie got involved this morning. You know, it's like when the bully on the block gets involved in a street fight, everybody's talking about it. So here we are. How's it, Harry?
How's it? Yeah, we don't want to get too much into the sources and methods behind the scenes because we actually are involved in some parts of this thing, but it's worthy, it's deserving of a chat. Because it has longer reaching implications if the powers that be were to swallow this kind of bullshit. It's like the facts of the case are not that complicated. In the 18th minute of the Bulls versus Connacht, Josh Murphy, a blindsider for Connacht, tackled and then rose up from the tackle and tried to counter-ruck. And that counter-ruck sort of failed because he ended up on his knees. So as he's sort of wading through the ruck now with bodies all around him on his knees, at the very end of it, he rises up and starts to make a protestation. And his protest has to do with being grabbed in the testicles, although his immediate reaction doesn't necessarily fit that. He ends up, after a long period of looking at it, being red carded himself. And this is the key point. Because I have some insight, having listened to a few things and heard a few things and behind the scenes, I think it was very important for Josh Murphy to prove that he was right. And from there stems everything. Because he was red carded, he's sitting there fuming, believing he's been unjustly treated. And so he's like a guy, you probably have someone in your family as well. It's unable to say that it just happened that way and maybe you were wrong, maybe you got it wrong. He had to start embellishing. Like a little kid, you know, like, yeah, but the guy punched me. Oh, actually, no, he also eye gouged me. No, you need me in the groin. Like, you just have to keep making up shit. So here's Josh Murphy talking after the match where he's still trying to justify himself. And he decides Jan-Hendrik Wessels becomes the patsy, the fall guy, the villain. You gotta have a villain. It cannot be me, Josh Murphy. It has to be someone else. And so he does this typical thing where maybe someone did graze that area, but he starts to embellish. And so what happened was he said that for 5 seconds, Jan-Hendrik Wessels from Grey College Bloom somehow had a really good hold of his package, twisted, gripped, and ripped for 5 seconds. And he has no marks, no need for medical attention, didn't howl at the moon, didn't sound like a hyena, didn't lose his voice, didn't go up an octave, and he tries to sell this story. And incredibly, the hearing officer, the first guy, the citing commissioner, swallows it whole. Oh, great. Oh, grand. Oh, perfect. That's great. Yeah. And what else? Oh, you poor lad. 5 seconds, for fuck's sake. I mean, I'm an old man. I'm not Jan-Hendrik Wessels. I'm not able to lift a tractor. But if I grab you by the nuts for 5 seconds and wrench and grip and rip, you're going to the doctor. You are becoming a soprano in the orchestra, and you are not walking. The next day, you have ice pack all around. I probably will crush your shit. So Jan-Hendrik Wessels, in that heat of the battle, supposed crime, there's no way he ripped anyone for 5 seconds. First of all, second of all, I think that embellishment, it doesn't hold up on the timestamp of the video. So if you go back and look at the ruck, there's not 5 seconds to do anything in that ruck. He even says in the end, I think Josh Murphy, that it happened at the very, 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 very end. That's why I reacted instantly, because I think he knew that there's something wrong with his story if he didn't react instantly. Because any mammal, any male mammal in the world that gets grabbed by the testicles, you do one of three things, and sometimes all three. You make a sound you ever heard before, like almost inhuman. You start flailing around and hitting everyone. You hit a nun in the face if you have to. You are just swinging. And the third thing is you recoil. Your whole body compresses into, you're like a snail, like a tortoise. You go into a shell. None of those behaviors were shown by Mr. Murphy. And so Mr. Murphy came off, I think, just seething with mad. He was just mad about being red carded, and so he had to find a villain. So Jan-Hendrik Wessels gets slammed apparently for 9 weeks. If I ball up my fist in a rugby match and punch you right in the face, that's 10 weeks. So it's tantamount to saying that Jan-Hendrik Wessels did something intentional. The problem is on the field, as the referee pointed out, you couldn't see any of that. So you were dealing with someone saying something happened. You're not disbelieving him. It's just that you cannot corroborate it. And it's a big thing to take away 9 matches from a person's career with game fees, with their ambitions, with the fact that you're playing, in test rugby. So you need more than that if the other player says, I didn't do it. Then you need circumstantial evidence. This is normal. Physical evidence. But Josh Murphy has said there's no markings. A front rower from Bloemfontein grabbed me by the nuts for 5 seconds, squeezed, ripped, and twisted, and there's nothing wrong with me. Okay, cool. You must be iron balls,
Exactly.
Murphy,
If that's wrong, why are you complaining? Yeah.
or you got no nuts at all. Okay, so those are 2 options. So maybe we should have a request for production of nuts on the table.
So was yours.
So that's the situation. Is if you're going to do that, you should factor that in. If you have direct evidence, then maybe you do go full noise. But let's say you believe the story, and you don't believe the denial, but you have no physical proof, and you're pretty sure that it's been embellished 5 seconds. Come on, give me a fuck's sake. Then you go sort of a different kind of punishment level, right? And even if you do that, you're going down a very slippery slope of precedence. Because let's say that Josh Murphy is an honest man, a good man, and he acted in good faith. Not everyone's going to act in good faith and be honest. So if you let that work, then inside a World Cup tournament in pool match 1, and it's a strategic allegation, and you get someone out for the whole tournament, and that would be the Murphy rule. Now, we've already had these cases before. Andre Strauss famously said his testicles were twisted, and the Samoan player, fair enough, he came forward and said, I actually did grab it, immediately realized what I grabbed, because when you're cleaning rucks and you're in a kinetic dynamic situation, you don't always know what you're grabbing, but you're kind of grabbing around the hip area and the thigh, and you're trying to clean someone, and he released it. Strauss, good man, said, hey, accidents happen. And he didn't impute motives. The problem here is Josh Murphy is being a right dous, and he's trying to go at Wessels to clear his own name, if that makes sense. And he should just own it, that his reaction was obviously going to be carded, and that he didn't need to go so far with his tall tale.
Hey, just to put things into perspective here, there's a lot of talk on X about maybe Jan-Hendrik admitted guilt. Maybe that's why the guy went so long. You actually listened to the recording. You know what was said in that meeting, in that hearing, isn't it?
So here's the thing about this. There's always a temptation when you're the player that's accused. If you just admit things and you have contrition and remorse, and you agree to certain other things, like even high tackle school, etc., they always give you a break. They also hold over your test caps as a lure. This happened to Willemse, where they say, if you could just say that you did something, then we'll trim it down. So that's going to be in play. But the current position of Jan-Hendrik Wessels is he didn't do it accidentally. He didn't do it intentionally. It just didn't happen at all.
And he didn't admit to it.
And because there's no video evidence, it's not clear that Josh Murphy could really identify what hand came where. It could have been his own guy, we don't know. We don't even know if it happened at all, obviously, or it might have been such an incidental contact in that type of frenzy where a guy is wading through a ruck on his knees. So every single thing he touches, an elbow, a hand, a face, is going to come in contact with his package. To me, I don't know. It's a very slippery slope. It's one where the authorities need to realize that we have limits to what we can ascertain, and those limits of ascertainment are actually quite important when you're assigning guilt and taking away someone's test caps and games. You just can sometimes admit in investigations, this happens to me all the time, is I'm pretty sure I knew what happened, but I cannot corroborate it enough where I can sleep at night, where I can go, I'm a good man. I look in the mirror and say, I made a good job. And this, I think the citing commissioner was gullible, and obviously knew when he heard 5 seconds that was bullshit. There's no way that happened for 5 seconds. Just do an experiment in your life, everyone. Go grab go grab someone for 5 seconds and see what happens to your kitchen. It'll be destroyed. It's just we go into fight flight, and when you grab there, you go into both at the same time. So I don't believe Murphy's story. That doesn't mean that I don't think something touched him there. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But I don't know what part of the body. I don't know who it was. I don't know who it belonged to, and his reaction doesn't add up. So here's the problem. They've backed themselves into a situation now where the story came out. Saru is involved. Saru is waded into the fight alongside the Bulls. So it's no longer just the little Bulls fighting the Urk. It is full noise. Rassie Erasmus has joined the fight. He's saying that now we have to beat you on the field and the boardroom. He's referring to the Irish game in Dublin with a squad that doesn't have Bongi in it. So it's Wessels was probably going to figure prominently in that match, and maybe still if there's justice done. But I just think it's a very bad look for the league, for rugby as a whole, to take the word of someone coming out of a ruck who struck someone, and then they almost invested in proving that the reason why they did that, something really happened. I mean, you've done that before when you're refereeing your kids and your family. It's, people embellish things. And so I think they need to take a step back, breathe, let the adults come back into the room and deal with this in a more common sense way. The ruling right now has no common sense. There's no common sense attached to the story. It doesn't hold water. Anyone who comes to me with that kind of story, I would immediately go, okay, let's stop. Before you say a number like 5 seconds, let's step back and let's count together. And then we see what it feels like. There's no way. There's no way that you go 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. The ruck is not, the ruck itself is about 5 seconds long. And Murphy said it's only at the very end. So you're looking at a 1 second thing, and a 1 second interaction with any part of your body, even your face, can sometimes be highly incidental and just part of body shifting and people pushing you from here to there.
Just quickly on that citing commissioner, it's the same guy who gave Dietling Forsier that long ban for actually standing on his knees and apparently going in too high. And that now brings into play Rassie's tweet this morning, where he basically said, loop, double K, middle A. Let me rephrase that in Afrikaans. I'm not as free with my swear words as you are. Why did Rassie say that? I mean, you mentioned earlier that Bongi not playing against Ireland and the likes, but I mean, the point is that's quite a vulgar thing to say, quite a crude way of saying things. Is that a legitimate complaint from his side, do you think, or is it just basically Rassie wading in and telling people, listen, the big guns have arrived now?
I mean, that's all it's saying, right? Lupkak is saying, get ready because I'm coming to the gunfight with a bazooka. I think at club level, especially when you're part of a competition in a league, you do have to be quite nice and you have to be almost obsequious, please, sir, no, sir, hand in hat. The Bulls have to take some of that posture because it's, you just have to. It's part of the situation. I think Rassie is saying, okay, you hit my little brother. I heard about it. I was down at the bar. I'm coming with my friends, and different level of lawyer will be involved, a different level of demonstrative evidence. Give a few less shits about how we present it. For me, this case cries out for this exact demonstrative scenario. Is you have Jan-Hendrik demonstrate his grip strength on a grip strength tool. He probably maxes out around 70 kilograms of grip strength. High level, grappler, wrestler level. I just did that recently. I mean, I'm pulling 60. 50 kilograms of applied pressure, grip strength, ruptures your testicle. So we're not, we're looking, and if before people scoff at that, there are rugby players who lost their testicles and had them squashed. And so, the common sense is you do that, and then you just have a urologist or someone who treats, or ER, a surgeon or physician, and you point out what happens to testicles when they have 60, 70 kilograms of 5 seconds of pressure. Okay, we'll just say 3 seconds. that you will have serious damage to your reproductive future, and you will not be walking around and you'll not be calmly saying, speaking with a full voice in the proper octave like he was. No way. It's impossible. So I think we have a tale of embellishment, and that's a shame, because it also violates what I think rugby is all about. Is, there was a time when we would have left that on the field. If you felt like someone did that to you and then you got a good punch in, then it was, class, it's finished. Let's go. Let's move. So I don't like it on that level either. But I know that's where we are. Is it's gamesmanship. And I think Rassie's just saying he smells it as gamesmanship, and I don't want to impugn anyone else's motives on intent. I would just say that the citing commissioner, was gullible and naive, and doesn't seem like a person who's been in the ruck. And whoever made the initial decision sounds like someone who hasn't been in a street fight, hasn't been in a ruck, doesn't know how bodies move and how time works and how it's an eternity to have anything in your grasp for 5 seconds, even an ear or a nose. So I worry about the common sense. I feel like we have a lot of boffins and nerds sitting around, debating what happens in a street fight, and they have no earthly idea. I also feel bad for Jan-Hendrik Wessels and his family, because to the extent that the whole thing is made up as a whole, and I'm not dismissing that. My most likely is something touched that guy's package somewhere. I just don't know how, but it wasn't a grip and a twist. But let's say nothing happened at all, and then it wasn't even Jan-Hendrik Wessels at all. I feel bad for them too, because that's a slur on you. Some people remember it forever. Even 10 years later, people will say, "Yo, he was the guy who grabbed someone's nut." So I think it's important to fight it out. Don't take the deal. Don't plea bargain. Whatever they offer you, tell them to fuck off. Kakulop, let's go.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know what? We should be like Solomon. You remember with the baby, when he said, cut the baby in two. Jan-Hendrik should show his strength on Murray himself, or Murphy himself. I mean, you said it happened. Let's see how long 5 seconds can be. Anyway, Harry, that was a good 15 minutes. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. Let's get this out. We'll wade into it a bit more. You are involved in this, so we'll be getting some information from you. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Justice for Jan-Hendrik. Let's go.
Yeah, I like it.
This is the Lekker Rugby Pod, only on Megaphone Rugby.